Black world and the Black Business School, and I want to say hello. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I also want to say hello to everybody on my Instagram page. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins, and you guys are welcome to follow me there at The Real Boyce Watkins, or you can follow me on Twitter at Dr Boyce Watkins 1. That's Dr Boyce Watkins 1. Now, you may or may not know. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you're aware. But Kamala Harris is officially selected as Joe Biden's running mate. So it was just announced that Kamala was Biden's pick, and a lot of people felt that this is good news for the Democrats, good news for the Black community. It's up to you to decide if you agree or not. So give me a yes or no in the chat if you are aware of this information, if you knew that she was going to be Joe Biden's vice presidential candidate. Okay, I see a lot of yeses in here. What's up, Christopher Humphreys? Exclamation thoughts. She was chosen because she's a bit. See, man, I'm not even gonna repeat what you said because we're gonna try to get this conversation started off positive, but y'all know we also gonna tell the truth too. So, and sometimes the truth sets you free. Sometimes it hurts people's feelings, but we're gonna tell the truth here. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Let's start here. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Hit the thumbs up button. Put your hashtag B1 in the chat. Hashtag B1 means that you're Black first. Blackness matters more than anything else. So that's really important also. So here's what I want to ask you guys. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Give me a yes or no in the chat on this question. I just put it up as a survey question. I'm going to tell you the survey results in a minute. Do you like Kamala Harris? Give me a yes or no. Do you like her? Do you dislike her? Yes, no if you don't like her. Yes if you do like her. Do you like? Just the basics. Do you like Kamala Harris? Like when you see her on TV, do you get excited? Do you feel like, oh yeah, it's a good day. Kamala's on TV. Give me a yes or no. Do you like Kamala Harris? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses in here. I'm seeing some no's. Oh, I'm seeing some nopes. Fat Divine, a nope. Emmanuel says nope, she's fake. H-Town click, nope. Oh wait, I'm seeing a lot of no's. I'm seeing no. Make you say no. Oh wow, so a lot of no's. All right, that's the first question. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the survey results. I asked on Twitter. My Twitter is Dr Boyce Watkins 1, and you guys know I'm a financial scientist and a statistician. So I like data. Which data gives me facts, right? So I like to use data because it gives me facts. So I got the data and I ran a survey and I asked, do you like Kamala Harris? Just a real basic question. And 61% of you said no. 61% of the respondents on Twitter said no. So I'm really trying to sort of understand the calculation here, the strategic political calculation, because I just don't really know if Kamala's going to go capture the Black vote like that, unless y'all got a major master plan. And Joe Biden, he's Jim Crow Joe, so Massa always got a master plan. He got a master plan for sure. They always got a master plan for Black people. Not a master plan, it's a master plan. Yeah, so a lot of people said no. A lot of you really have nothing for Kamala Harris. No no appreciation for her. You probably dislike her more than I do. I don't love her. I don't hate her. I see her as a smart lady, and I'm happy for her and stuff. But you know what Kamala always came off to me as? Kamala always came off to me as a person who always wanted to be president at any cost, at any price, right? Just, not that ambition's a bad thing, but Kamala, she reminds me of the politicians I don't trust. I'm a big believer. I've always believed that this is Uncle Boyce wisdom talking right now. I've always been a believer that you should never trust a politician or a pastor when their whole dream, their whole goal, their whole life was to be a politician or a pastor. Like I never liked those pastors where they like, oh yeah, I started preaching when I was 4 and, and now I'm running the church and I'm 29, 30 years old. And because it always ends up being a mess because for the men anyway. So this is not speaking against Kamala as a woman. I mean, my God, I love and respect black women. I want to see them do well. But I think with Kamala, she reminds me of like a bad church where you got some pastor who's been wanting to be the head of the church since he was like in the second grade. And now that he's the head of the church, like he's taking the money, he's sleeping with all the women. He's running around, trying to act like a rapper, trying to do what rappers do. You ever see that? You ever see pastors that just like it's like, okay, you're a little bit too young to be heading the church because you're not settled. You haven't found yourself yet. As you say, Al Sharpton. I would say the young, fat Al Sharpton for sure. The older statesman Al Sharpton, he's more of a tool for the Democratic Party now. He's a little bit more settled. But the young fat Al Sharpton that had the big medallion and we just walk around the sweatsuits, that's a good example. I really believe that people that do best in politics or preaching are people who have found their success elsewhere. They have already gone on and become a CEO of a corporation, so their ego isn't in it anymore. They don't need the position to make themselves feel like they are worthy or that they've accomplished something. So Kamala, I never trusted Kamala for that, because I'm gonna tell you like this. Y'all know me. I read between the lines, and most of the time, I will tell you what I see. Sometimes I don't say it publicly because people won't get it. But you got to understand. I mean, I'm not a regular person. I was in school for a very long time. When you're a PhD who thinks constantly, you go beneath the surface on stuff. And I trust my instincts. My subconscious sends me signals on things. And I really felt some kind of way when I saw that Kamala, when she was maybe 28 years old, was dating 60-year-old Willie Brown. Anybody know about that? Y'all saw that where she's like super young, like 28, 29 years old. And dating this 60-year-old man. Now, maybe it's a possibility that they just fell madly in love and she somehow just had a hunger to be with a man who, reminded her of her grandfather. But I think that it was because she was trying to get ahead by any means necessary. And not to take Malcolm's term, I almost feel like I kind of disrespected Malcolm's term. So maybe I should change my wording right there. But when I saw she dated Willie Brown back in the day, and you're 28, 29 years old, and you're dating a man who's 60, like 28, 29 is about, theoretically, statistically, that's about when women are looking for their husbands. That's when, you're dating a guy who's 31, 32, so y'all can begin the journey together. Women tend to like men on average, I'm not overgeneralizing here, but on average, they tend to like men that are maybe a little bit taller. Maybe they make a little bit more money. They're a little bit older, maybe 2 or 3 years older, like that sweet spot, right? So that's when you're 28, you're thinking that you're going to be with a 28, 29, you're 28, 29, you're going to date a 31, 32-year-old man who's established, and then you're going to build together. But this wasn't the case. She was 28, 29, dating a man who was like, on the AARP VIP list. Like this man was, literally, they would sit in bed, I guess, and tell stories, and she would talk about cartoons she used to watch, and he'd be like, yeah, I had just finished law school, when you were in diapers, right? It was kind of like that. Like he was a grown-ass person who had been an adult for many years before she was even an infant. So that's a real interesting relationship. And one thing that you'll also notice, if you go read her bio in detail, and maybe like the Wikipedia page where they break things down. When I want to understand somebody, I read their Wikipedia page about their family and everything else. And you learn a lot about people that way. And one thing I also noticed was that right after that relationship with Willie Brown, she got a really important position. I forgot what the position was, but it was something important in San Francisco. So Kamala is a person who really has always been willing to do whatever it takes to get to wherever she wants to be. And I think that Kamala lost a lot of the public trust also because I think her ambition got her into a little bit of trouble. Because I think that because she wants to win so bad, she'll be anything you need her to be at that moment. So when they're asking her, so what do you think about hip hop? She's bopping, talking about, I smoked some weed. Remember she went on with Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club and was talking about how she smoked weed in college and listened to Biggie or something. And then she was in college years before Biggie ever came out. And people, like that little tiny thing made people realize, and you were right about this, it made people realize that she's pretending to be something that she's not. in order to fit in. And that made me feel bad for her because I think I'm a big believer in doing the best you can to be yourself. I think you're going to always be anything you do. This is just a tip for anybody listening. Anything you do in life, I encourage you, just be yourself because you're good at it. You've been practicing your whole life. Just be the best version of yourself, and that's how you become successful. Like, I know I'm weird. I know I piss people off. I know I cuss too much. I know that I'm a nerd, but I'm the best cussing ass, piss people off ass nerd on the internet, and I do what I do, and it works. It works for me. If I try to become something else, then I become a miserable failure, right? So be the best version of yourself you can be, and that's when you succeed. But then again, though, maybe this is working for her, right? I mean, Kamala, just to her credit, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Somebody said, Boyce, you're low-key throwing shade. You know, I'm not low-key throwing shade. I'm throwing shade out in public. This is public shade, so this is not subtle shade. This is very explicit shade, but it's also truth. And if truth, it causes you to feel like you've been shaded, then I can't apologize for that. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the facts, right? So anyway, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that yet. Please hit the thumbs up button. So she will be, to her credit, she'll be technically the first black woman vice presidential candidate, first black woman selected by white people to run for vice president. Remember, you gotta, as black people, get past this idea of believing that black history is made whenever a white person decides it's going to happen. I have a hard time getting real excited about, black history being made because a white person chose some black person to have some important position. I don't buy into that. And to me, that's not black achievement, because remember, sometimes they choose you because you're excellent at what you do, but sometimes they choose you because you're a perfect pawn. Sometimes they choose you because you are a perfect tool of white supremacy. Sometimes they choose you because you're the best Negro, to put Negro face to put on the billboard, right? If I'm the head of the Klan, I find a black person and pay him lots of money, and I say, here, look, here's the agenda. I need you to go deliver the poison to your community for me. That's what the Black Klansman does. Y'all know if y'all saw him. He's my distant cousin. Sometimes he appears on my YouTube channel. The Black Klansman was on there. Go look it up. It's on drboycetv.com. The Black Klansman pops up every now and then. He's my distant cousin. I can't claim him, but he popped in and he was explaining why the KKK paid him to promote some of these ratchet-ass, drug-addicted mumble rappers to destroy the black community. So anyway, so here's the thing. So Jim Crow Joe, that's what Vicky Dillard calls him, Jim Crow Joe. Thank you, Black Mama, for your donation. Spot on, Boyce. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much. I love you. So Jim Crow Joe picks Kamala Harris, and most of you don't like Kamala. On my Twitter is Dr Boyce Watkins 1. I'm looking at the updated results. Hundreds of you responded within minutes. 63% of you said you do not like Kamala. 19.6% of you said that you do like Kamala. 17% of you said you're not sure about Kamala. Let's see here. Let me look at, there's another poll here. We like to get data. We like to get receipts. We like to get facts. So let's see here. Let's see what the other survey says. Here's another survey question we asked on yourblackworld.net. And we asked, with Joe Biden choosing Kamala Harris as his running mate, does this make you feel more or less excited about voting in the next election? The 11% of you said it makes you feel more excited about voting in the next election. 16% of you said it makes you feel less excited about voting in the next election. 73%, the overwhelming majority of you, said it makes no difference at all. Okay, so that's another piece of information. And then and then just as a double take, just to make sure the data was good, I asked also on my YouTube channel, do you like Kamala Harris? 67% of you said no. 13% of you said yes. So she seems to have a likability problem in the black community. Now give me a yes. Let me ask you guys this. First of all, are you planning to vote for Trump or Biden in the next election? Do you plan to vote for anybody in the next election? Give me a yes or no. Yes, if you plan to vote. I don't care who you vote for. We don't judge that, by the way, here. In case you're new to the platform, we're B1, hashtag B1 Black First. That means that I'm not going to judge you based on who you vote for. I know out there in the world, people think you're a white supremacist if you vote for Trump. I don't care. As long as you have good black reasons for doing whatever you do, I support you. All right, so let's see. I see some yeses. Okay, I see a lot of yeses and some nos. And okay, and I see I plan to vote. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I actually shifted my policy a little bit. I got a lot of people mad because I just told people that I wasn't going to vote in the election because I'm not going to be, you're not going to bully me into picking somebody just because you want to try to scare me. I don't scare easily. I'm not interested in being a scared black man. We got enough scary Negroes out here. But here's what I decided to do. So as a compromise, instead of saying that I won't vote in the next election, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the polls and I'm going to vote for either a third party candidate or I'm going to write in my candidate. And so if you want to know who I'm voting for, I'm going to vote for the Dr. Claude Anderson, Vicky Dillard ticket for president of the United States. So Dr. Claude, since he's the OG, he's the presidential candidate. Vicky is the vice presidential candidate. And if I can write someone in, I will write those two in as the people I'm voting for. I'm not voting for Kanye because Kanye needs his meds. But I'm not participating in the Biden. Do you want a racist or a Klansman? Like do you want an arrogant white man or a senile white man in the office? That contest does nothing for me. It does not inspire me. I'm not participating in any of that. I'm voting for, if you want to know who Dr. Watkins is voting for, I'm voting for the Anderson Dillard ticket, AD, maybe after death, right? AD. So that's my post-racial vote. Last thought that I had, I'm gonna throw a conspiracy theory at y'all. I don't know if this is, it crossed my brain, so I'm gonna just share it in public. Forgive me if it sounds crazy. Here's what's interesting, right? Now, y'all do know Joe Biden is losing his faculties, right? You do know that that there's a gang of receipts and evidence on the internet right now, just a ton of receipts out there. Go look it up. Go Google it. Joe Biden's going senile. That man is losing his damn mind. He's on his way. He's Alzheimer's 2.0. Like that's what the consensus is. That's what people are seeing. That's what I believe. I believe that guy. I mean, the job of president of the United States, that is the most stressful job in the world. That is a stress. I'm much younger than Joe Biden. I'm older than a lot of you, but I'm much younger than Joe Biden. I'm 29 years or younger than Joe Biden. And that job is too stressful for me. I would not want that job at my age. I'm trying to figure out how a 78-year-old or whatever his age is, 77, how do you, when you're closing in on 80, so many things can go wrong and so many things do go wrong. How do you handle a job like that when you are that old? I just, it may not be right to say it this way. It probably sounds, they always make up terms to shame people into killing their freedom of speech. Like, you're like age discrimination or you're slut shaming or fat shaming, right? And what it does is it clears the path for the Lizzos and the Cardi B's. Lizzo can promote, diabetes and obesity to black people who 3 months later will be complaining because we're dying from COVID because we've got diabetes and heart disease. But that's beside the point, right? And then Cardi B is out here teaching your little girls to become prostitutes, and somehow that's body positivity when you're teaching your daughter to sell her vagina for a Scooby snack in a pair of sneakers. But so I don't pay attention to any of that. All that shaming language doesn't matter to me. I don't care what anybody says about this. Joe Biden is too old to be the president. He's not there, mentally. He wasn't a stupid man his whole life. Joe Biden is a smart guy. Joe Biden, you look at his life, he was a successful man for a reason, and he's been through a lot. I think one of his sons died and his other son's hooked on drugs. I mean, this man's really been through it. And the fact that he's able to maintain his composure through all of that has been one of the things about Biden that I honestly, don't hold it against me, but it's one of the things I actually admired about him. I said, okay, this guy's really focused. Because a lot of people, they have a heart, something bad goes wrong in their family. One person dies, they break down, they quit the job, they can't no, Joe Biden has been consistent, right? Now, mind you, his politics are not my politics. He was a part of the passage of that horrible crime bill that sent all those black men to prison. I will never forget that until they actually correct that. There are still members of your families that are in prison right now because of that crime bill. For that reason, one of many, but that's one of the key reasons why I'm not going to just sort of move on and act like it didn't happen. Now, the thing about Biden, though, is that given that he's losing his mind, what do you do if you're a Democrat? What do you do if you are the Obamas and you're trying to figure out how the party can reclaim the White House, and your best hope is a man who thinks his wife is his daughter sometimes. Like, did you remember that he looked at his daughter and said, "That's my wife" or something, and then he just says these stupid things out in public, right? So what do you do? I mean, of course they're going to have to keep him inside. They're going to have to keep him from talking too much. Like, just be quiet till the election. We don't want people to know that we're about to put a senile man in the White House. So what do you do? Well, Kamala Harris is perfect for that. Kamala Harris is perfect for that. And I think Kamala knows this, and I believe Kamala is perfect in her mind and in their mind. Kamala Harris, in my opinion, write it down, y'all. I believe that they are positioning for the possibility that Kamala Harris will become the first black female president. Now, that might make you feel good. It might mortify you. You might not give a shit. But I believe that Kamala Harris could be the first black female president, because they know that Joe Biden is on his way down. They probably know things about Biden's deteriorating condition that the public does not know. Then the public knows a lot. The public has seen enough to say that something ain't right with this guy. But what do? You can't, it's too late in the game to really swap him out, right? So you get a Kamala Harris behind him who has, she's the Attorney General of California. She knows her way around politics. Now, is she the most ethical person in the world? No. But is she the worst person? No, I don't think she's the worst either, because you're comparing her against a bunch of garbage, right? So I think that they're processing like, okay, if we have to remove him from either the campaign trail, because there's still a lot of work to do on the campaign trail. If we remove him from the campaign trail or from the White House, Kamala will be ready to take over. And also, during the campaigning, when we're telling this crazy old man to keep his mouth shut, Kamala does all the talking. Kamala is smart. Kamala is ambitious. She's easy on the eyes. She's a very pretty lady. Black women, y'all got it like that. Y'all just the most beautiful women on the planet. So let's just give it up for Kamala. She might be a bitch about 42.4% of the time, but she is a gorgeous woman, and she's a smart woman. She's not stupid. She's a little overambitious, but she's not stupid, right? So I think that's the plan. I think the plan is that Kamala Harris is going to be the first black female president of the United States, and it might happen sooner than we think. So if that inspires you to go vote, then go vote. But it doesn't change a thing for me. I'm still voting for the Claude Anderson, Vicky Dillard ticket. That's what I'm voting for. So, by the way, I want to acknowledge those of you who made donations in the chat. Thank you, Kevin making. Okay, Kevin says she has a white husband. That speaks volumes. Yeah, that caused some controversy. I did ask that question on Twitter. I said, okay, so wait a minute. You're a black woman who went to an HBCU and you met thousands and thousands and thousands of black men, but the only man you could think that was good enough for you to marry was this white lawyer who happens to be good for your career. Like that right there says a lot too. And I don't apologize for asking that question. It doesn't mean she's a sellout. I mean, I have people in my own family who married outside their race. I can't control who people marry. I can't tell my relatives what to do. If whoever you marry is a nice person, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Just because you marry a white man doesn't mean he's going to come in with white supremacy in my house. Nobody does anything in my house that I don't allow, because that's why it's called my house. But at the same time, you have to really sort of look at that. You have to understand who you choose to marry says a lot about you, because that's where that's when you're really putting skin in the game. Like, it's one thing for me to talk pro-black and this, that, and the other, but if I'm not really in there, the greatest thing I can sacrifice for the black community is my life and my future. And so I gave my life to a black woman because I felt that if I didn't do that, it would be in contradiction to everything that I claim to believe in, right? How can I sit here and talk to you about building the black community if I'm going to transfer all my wealth to Becky Reynolds when I die? Like, that wouldn't even make any sense. So it's a personal choice. And I think that you can tell a lot, like you can really tell a lot about politicians by the choices they've made in their life. So what I would suggest you do is, if you really want to understand any public figure, any political figure, go read their Wikipedia page, look at how they grew up. Look at how they, responded to challenging situations. Look at the things where they really put things on the line. Like, so for example, when Obama was supposed to put a black woman on the Supreme Court, Dorothy Height asked him to do it before she died, and he just didn't do it. He picked Elena Kagan, and I did not support that. That I did not support her candidacy, even though the White House called me and asked me to support her candidacy her confirmation. I didn't support it because I said she's not. There's nothing about her. Like, you should have a black woman on the Supreme Court. Like, it's crazy that you don't. And the one thing the point that they tried to make was that it was something really stupid. It was something that you should only try on stupid people. I'm not a stupid man. And it was like, well, at Harvard, she had the Thurgood Marshall chair or something, like, at Harvard. I was like, I don't care. And to Roland Martin's credit, Roland Martin gets on my damn nerves about 80% of the time, but Roland's a journalist. And one thing Roland did point out, and this is where we actually partnered, and I actually don't regret that. I thought that was actually a good thing, is we both helped to highlight the fact that this lady had never hired any black people. The entire time that she was on the faculty at Harvard, she hired 32 people, and 30 of them were white males. One was a white female, one was an Asian. And I said, so what, you President Obama, what are you doing? Like, this is not a win for the black community. And why would you even allow people to go out and try to convince black people that it's a win for the black community? Because it's not. So with Elena Kagan, I read her bio to understand why she was the perfect choice for the Obama administration. Elena Kagan, she was from Harvard. Harvard and Yale have a huge, they put a huge amount of resources into controlling the country. Not just all the Ivies. I'm talking about Harvard and Yale. If you go back and you look at all the presidents of the United States and look at all the Supreme Court justices, a large percentage of them went to Harvard or Yale. What else about Elena Kagan? She was also Jewish. She also was a woman, and and I figured out that I believe that she was part of the LGBT community. And the reason I figured that out was because people who want to be Supreme Court justices spend their lives sitting on eggshells. Like, they don't go too far to the left, too far to the right. Every opinion is carefully written, so they don't have anything that somebody can go back and read and criticize them on later. And they don't jump into controversial stuff. They're not crazy like me. They won't jump into any issue or whatever. They try to be right in the middle so that they can get confirmed later on down the line. Well, the one time that Elena Kagan took a really strong position, a controversial position, was when the military tried to recruit on Harvard's campus. And she stopped them from recruiting on Harvard's campus specifically because of their LGBT policy. At that time, they had the don't ask, don't tell policy, and she did not like that policy. So to me, the fact that she took such a strong stand, a controversial stand, a potential career-ending stand, or one that could have kept her off the Supreme Court, was because she was a part of that community. So you can read people's bios and learn a lot about people. Like, so if you want to understand somebody, just read their bio, and maybe if you can watch some interviews, and your subconscious will tell you, like, your spirit will eventually tell you, like, what's really going on, and you got to learn to listen to that. I listen to my spirit a lot, and so that's what it is. So so I'll say this now. It's so funny. She said, "You're such a hater of black women." I love when people just get everything misconstrued. The whole Cardi B conversation was not because I hate black women. It's because I love black women. It's because I resent the idea of people making billions of dollars, white people making billions of dollars, promoting the idea that a black woman's body can be purchased for the cost of a Burger King value meal. That basically your daughter's vagina should just be put on a tray and sold to the highest bidder. I think hopefully we've gotten past slavery. We have enough problems with sex trafficking of our girls. I raised two beautiful young black girls in my house, and I have no interest in dealing with the fact that we have sex trafficking that happens not too far from here. And I'm ready to bust a cap in the head of anybody that comes near those girls. And I believe that when you talk about things like rape culture, or you talk about just an environment where women's bodies are so heavily disrespected through media and music, you're creating the atmosphere through which this trafficking occurs. You're creating the atmosphere through which these rapes are occurring. You're creating the atmosphere through which this other stuff is happening, right? So here's the thing, and here's another little piece about that. This is another point for those who just to make sure you're 100% abundantly clear on why I spoke on that Cardi, hoes in this house, every black woman should be a hoe kind of thing, is because one thing you have to understand is that when you run around as a proud hoe, saying that it's my right, my body, I can sell my vagina to men if I want to. Understand this, though, that when you are sending the world a message that your vagina can be bought for $5.45, you got all these men coming through your house. Well, many of those men are going to assume that your children are for sale too. People don't understand. People don't talk about this, but a lot of those women that have men just running through the house all the time, their children are getting raped. If you don't believe me, ask anybody. Ask anybody who grew up in like a whorehouse. Ask anybody who grew up in a house of prostitution where they had to watch their mama walk in a bedroom with a new man every couple of days, and ask them what that experience was like, and ask them what happened to them. Look at Richard Pryor and how fucked up and crazy he was as a result of the fact that he grew up in a house of prostitution. A lot of these men that you're bringing into your space and acting like it ain't no big deal, a lot of these men are sex addicts. And some people like that, they are just straight pleasure seekers, and they will put their penis in anything that is within a 50-mile radius. It could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be an adult, it could be a child. So you can't tell me that when you run around here rapping to there's holes in his house and you feel like you can just sell your body and it's no big deal, it's nobody's business but yours. Just understand what you're attracting. Like, you're attracting an element into your space that is going to be detrimental to your children. Why in the hell do you think that these men are going to come in and they're going to get down with you, but they ain't going to look at your 16-year-old daughter? Like, your 16-year-old daughter looks just like you. She got curves like you. She got the booty that her mama spent 9 months to make, right? She's got all of everything you've got, she's got that too. So you can't tell me that these men are not going to be attracted to her just like they're attracted to you. And a lot of these men are going to be attracted to your little son. They're going to be attracted to your 7-year-old. You need to be thinking about your family. You need to protect your family, man. Seriously. So at the end of the day, I'm just telling you, like if you want to ask me about the Cardi stuff, I know we started talking about Kamala, and I know Kamala, I'm sure the Kamalas and the Democrats, the liberals, because they're so bad for you, they're going to keep bringing and elevating, the Cardi types of the world. Like I think Bernie Sanders did an interview with Cardi B or something like that, which I guess she's supposed to be speaking on black politics right now, which is absolutely a complete insult to your community. It's the most ridiculous stuff I've ever seen. Maybe if you want to talk about stripper politics or stripper experiences, she's perfect for that. But if you're talking about, the women that I know and the community that I connect to and the people that I care about, that's a whole different demographic. But what happens is that people just believe somebody matters because they're popular, or they will just go and listen to what someone says because they sold 1 million records. That's why you will elevate the Cardi B's and you will forget about the Frances Cresswells and the women in your community who actually stand up for you and care about you enough to tell you the truth about what's really going on with white supremacy. So I will say this. Let's go back to Kamala as we finish up here. I think that Kamala is... I understand why they picked her for vice president. I think she's definitely better than that lady down in Georgia. I just didn't see her being a pick. For various reasons. The other one was Susan Rice. I remember Susan Rice sold her Netflix stock and left the board of Netflix, which led a lot of people to believe that she might be the pick. Now, she could be getting picked for something else, though, because I think she was a Secretary of State or something. Was it Secretary of State or National Security Advisor? And she was going to be Secretary of State. That's what it was. I wouldn't be surprised if she got involved in the process, because I think that what's really happening now is they're trying to really bring some sort of unity to the black vote. I think they're going to need more than Kamala, and they probably have a plan to do that. And then ultimately, they're going to have to compete with Kanye. And if Kanye sticks it out, if Kanye really sticks it out and takes this thing to the finish line, I do believe Kanye can shift the whole election. And you can blame Kanye. You can say, sit down, you crazy asshole. What's wrong with you? I think that I think that they should blame themselves. I think that for whatever reason, this policy of benign neglect, ignoring the black community, putting the black community last, these are chickens coming home to roost. They're not talking to the people that we want them talking to. They don't care about the issues that we want them to care about. And as a result, black people are tired of the Democratic Party. Not everybody. Some of you are still going to vote, and I don't blame you for that. I'm not judging you. Some of you are going to vote for Trump. I'm not judging you for that either. But there are some of you who are sitting out. I don't judge you all either, because actually, believe it or not, there are political scientists. Go research this. Don't believe me. Go look it up. There are political scientists that will explain to you, smart political scientists like at Harvard, Yale, who will explain that abstaining from voting can sometimes be a powerful political strategy. Like if somebody says you've either got shitty option A or shittier option B, some people will abstain because they're going to say, I want you to understand I'm not accepting either one of your shitty options. So anybody who tells you that that's not true is really not your friend. And anybody who tells you that's not true also is not in support of the idea of freedom for black people. Freedom, at the end of the day, Type the word freedom in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Freedom means doing what you want to do. Freedom means having the right to choose. Period. Why, you understand the word freedom when a white feminist says it, when she's talking about aborting your baby or whatever. Well, why can't you understand freedom when it comes to a black person simply doing what they want to do? Why is it so controversial when I just say, look, I want black people to be free. I just want you to be free. I don't want you to do what I tell you to do. Don't do what I tell you to do. Do what you tell you to do. What is wrong with that? Somebody tell me. Somebody break that down for me. Why that makes me such a threat that I'm simply saying, I just want you, just do you. Live your best life. That's it, right? So freedom is one of the most important words for black people, arguably the most important word. The other really important word is power. Power and freedom work together. They go hand in hand. They're like brother and sister. And if you read books like Powernomics, where Dr. Claude Anderson talks about power, something that many black people don't understand. We use terms like black power all the time, but it doesn't mean anything because we really don't understand what power really is. Anybody who begs for power doesn't understand what power is. Anybody who holds a march and a prayer and a candlelight vigil in hopes of obtaining power doesn't understand what power really is. Anybody who requests and fills out a form and asks white people for power doesn't understand what power is. Power, according to the book Powernomics, is the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. Right? It does not say that it's the ability to pursue your agenda with the approval of others. It does not say the ability to pursue your agenda after other people give you permission. Power is the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. So power in sports, for example, would be a football team that says, yes, you can play whatever defense you want to play, but we're still going to score touchdowns. And we know you're not going to like it, but we're still going to score because we have power. We have enough power that we're going to overpower your offensive line and your defensive line on every play until we score enough points and we're going to win the game. Right? Power is when the brothers from not fucking around in the NFAC, when the brothers from the NFAC went to Louisville and they showed up. They didn't show up with Bibles and prayer sticks and holding hands singing "We Shall Overcome." They showed up with guns and assault rifles and hand grenades and military style hunting knives attached to their bodies. And you know what happened? The police got in the car and drove away. The cops got it. They were big and bad with the riot gear and everything. But when they saw hundreds of black men marching toward them with weapons, they drove away because they said, we can't control this. They have too much power. That to me was a great example of black power. Power means you can kind of make the rules. Power means you can move to the front of the line. And so what happens with black people is that you use the term black power, but you don't know what black power is. You talk about freedom, but you don't really know what freedom is. So a lot of times in America, what occurs is that people who have power, that have the ability to pursue their agenda despite the opposition of others, they unfortunately will use their power to steal your freedom. They will use their power to steal your freedom. So the Democratic Party has power. They use that power every election to steal your freedom to choose. Right? Media, white-owned media has power. They'll use that power to steal your ability to raise your children in an appropriate way because they're going to brainwash your kids before you do. I mean, people talk all day about like, oh, well, we should, if you don't really like what Cardi B's saying to your daughter, you need to stop your daughter from listening to Cardi B. Give me a yes or no. How many of y'all really believe you can stop your damn 12-year-old child from hearing Cardi B's music if white people are blasting that shit everywhere? Like, how in the fuck am I supposed to stop the kids from hearing it? I mean, I'll talk to them. I'll be like, you shouldn't listen to that. That's bad music, right? We talk about it, but you really think they're not going to hear it if you are doing everything you can to push it on every level, at every corner, in every part of the city? Come on, man. That's insane. That's insane. So at the end of the day, they're showing you what power looks like. So you need to be taking notes. And then as you're taking notes, you first you use the power that you have to grab your freedom. And then you start accumulating power so that you can actually pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. So if you want to know what my goal is, at the end of the day, my goal is not to get Trump elected. My goal is not to get Biden elected. My goal is not to get Kanye elected. My goal is power. Power. And it starts with economics. And that's why I believe that what I know with my PhD in finance can be beneficial to you, and that's why I offer that up as a way to understand how economic power works in this country. All right. So anyway, I'll let you guys know what else I see as far as the Kamala Harris stuff. I'm not going to talk too much about politics, but I thought this was worth discussing because I think it's interesting to do surveys and find out how you guys feel. And basically, according to the surveys we've run, the black people in our space anyway don't really like Kamala Harris, but maybe if you do the survey on Roland Martin's YouTube channel or something, she'll have overwhelming love and support. I don't like or dislike her. I just call it for what it is, and I told you guys I think she's very smart and very ambitious, but I don't really trust her. But I don't think she's gonna be, this destructive force in the White House either. I think that she might do a couple of good things for black people, but I'm not convinced that black people are anywhere near the tip top of her agenda. Definitely not the masses. I think that there is a cohort, though, of elite black people, what you might call bougie black people, who really want to be integrated into white infrastructure. They really want to get access to the White House, and they really want to get that special job or whatever, working for that corporation or that white institution. So people like that are good for that. Like when the Obamas rose up, a lot of people, like the Roland Martins, for example, rose up along with the Obamas. So Roland is probably jumping up and down and dancing that Kamala got selected as vice president, because when Kamala starts getting more access, he will get more access because they tend to kind of roll in the pack. I'm rejected from that group, and I'm okay with that because I have a different agenda and I have enough power to pursue my agenda despite the opposition of any of those individuals. So let's just keep building. Let's keep doing our thing. Whatever it is you believe in, let's move forward with that. All right, guys. So hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Tonight, if you guys are in the Black Stock Market Program, we're going to have a Q&A tonight at 8 o'clock. So go check your email if you want to join us tonight. We're going to talk all about stocks and everything else. And I hope you guys have a good day. And also, don't forget, the Black Business School is doing, we're doing a special event with Amanda Spann, one of the leading technologists on the planet, on how to start a tech company or a company using apps, even with no technology background. So if you're interested in any of that or want to learn more about that, just sign up. Just get on our email list. You can go to firstshareofstock.com. That's firstshareofstock.com. We'll give you free training on how to buy your first share of stock so you can start investing for your family. And then you'll get emails from us, and we'll tell you guys what's going on in the Black Business School. So take care, guys. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Love you. Talk to you later. Peace.